Cheerio, all my British friends out there, and welcome back to another exciting British car build. No, actually, guys, what we got going on here is the Armstrong lever shocks for MG cars. So this is for an MG Midget, but the same idea would apply to the MGB, and I don't know enough about the MGA, so I can't say that. But basically, what I've got is one of my shocks was leaking oil pretty bad. So I thought, hey, I could just buy an oil seal, or a little seal, and put it on, and that should be the end of it. So upon further research and talking to the British auto parts store or whatever, they said that you really can't do that. I don't know, maybe something about it's pressed in or something, and I don't know if they're just bullshitting me. But anyway, since they said you couldn't do that, I decided to, I was going to put some power steering stop leak in. I was like, well, whatever. If I got to replace the shock, it's going to be like $300 or something, or $400, whatever it was going to be. So I was like, I'm going to put some power steering stop leak in it. But while I was doing some research online, I actually came up with another product. And I was like, wow, that's really intriguing. So basically what you watched me do here is trying to pump out all the old oil the best I could, and this is what I bought. This was Canadian Tire, like $5, and yeah, I don't know, I can't say long-term anything about this product, but you sit back and you're gonna see some testing by me, which is not very scientific, but it is what it is anyway. And so I've tried to speed the videos up here to say, I want you to see what I'm doing, but at the same time, I'm not trying to take all your whole damn life. Although, honestly, the longer you watch this, I make money from AdSense, and like it helps my video metadata, or I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so sit back and watch. We're gonna put this in. Now, one thing I'll mention is that when you're doing this and you're trying to fill the shock off the car, you'll notice I've got it on an angle, and that's because the shock sits on like a bit of an angle. So I'm trying to simulate that angle, because if you just lay this down on its back and fill it, you'll overfill it, and it says to be careful not to overfill these. So you can see as I fill it, there's basically absolutely no resistance at all, because I took the little bit of oil that was in it out. So here we go. I close the cap. I'm going to pump it a bunch of times. It's going to build up pressure there. You can see now how much harder it is for me to pump it. And then I do that, and you'll see the oil dripping out the bottom. That's from that seal that apparently I can't replace. So if anybody knows a trick for replacing that, by all means, I would love a link to it, because I much would have preferred a proper seal to snake oil, which, for those of you that don't know what the term snake oil means, basically it's bullshit in a bottle. Generally, miracle cures and things like that. So when you get a car product and they say, people will say that seafoam is snake oil, although I watched Project Farm and he showed that it actually worked. So anyway, ultimately at this point, that's all we're calling it, because we don't have my scientific data in to show you if it's actually good or not. So you'll see that I filled it, pumped it a bunch of times, then I put it back down and filled it some more, because you've got to work it into those chambers, or it'll never function right. So this shock should be pretty stiff, and ultimately right now what I'm trying to do is get the fluid to leak through. My understanding is that it swells seals. So in the event that a product like this works, I can't say that it won't damage the other parts in the shock, because I never took the shock apart, so I don't know what the hell the other parts are. But my guess is there's some kind of pistons in there, and there might be rubber seals like other ones, but in my case, I just thought I've got nothing to lose. Yeah, like why not? So here I am throwing it back on the car. I'll say that these are not terrible to get off. Once you've had it off once, like, 'cause I had to take it off for, or like unbolt some of the bolts anyway to change the, what is it? What I do? The ball joints. Oh, and then those bushings there. But anyway, so it was easy enough to take this off, probably 10 minutes, if even. So we're gonna pop it back on. Sorry guys, I probably should have skipped through this part for you, but don't worry, we're getting to the good stuff. So one way to tell that you've got a leaking shock, a couple things you should know. One, you'll notice that your car dances over across the road. When you're driving down the road, if it's, and you hit a bump, like, you know, whatever, it's sewer grate or little potholes or whatever, if your car is doing the shimmy or the truffle shuffle to the left and to the right, then you may want to check the oil on these shocks. The other thing you're going to see is oil on the ground, like under your wheel area. So if you see a couple little drops of oil, which I did have, so I have some oil on the driveway. And now one thing I'll say is that if you run out of oil, guess what? You're not going to see any more oil there. So don't take no oil as a sign of they don't leak. Because really at first I didn't even know I had an issue. But this was also an instructional video on how to put the shock back in case you didn't know. So once again, sorry, I probably should have deleted this part. I know it's not that exciting, but just while I've got you, I'll tell you, this is a great car to work on. So anyone that may be watching this probably already has one or is considered getting one. But anyway, overall, it's a super easy car to work on, except for some rust here and there. But yeah, and a fun little car. So they're worth saving. If you've ever thought about getting one, go right ahead and get one and try it out. Why not? All right, now we're gonna go and skip over to my recorded audio from today that I recorded, because this was actually recorded several days ago. So let's go jump in and see what I have to say today. All right, and now a few days has passed and I've drove, several miles, or I don't know, maybe 40 miles or something like that since I put the stop leak in. And like a couple things. One, I didn't use brake cleaner, which I realized probably to do this demo, it would have been in my best interest to clean it off first to see if there's any sign of leaking. But I guess ultimately we know that it was going to leak in the first place anyway. But right now, one of two things: it's either dried out and all the oil has already dripped out, or it stopped, because right here was normally dripping in oil and there's not, and I haven't cleaned this yet. So I've got a can of brake cleaner here, so that basically after I top it off again, we're gonna go ahead and do that. But like potentially it could be empty, but I don't think so. I didn't film it, but I shook the car and the shock seems like it's working. The side's not bouncing when I go down the road over bumps. The car's not being thrown all over the road. Now mind you, I've filled the other shocks too, so it definitely would make a difference. But yeah, there's, strangely enough, the potential that snake oil actually worked. I really don't know. And yeah, I'm gonna top it off, and I guess ultimately for right now, to conclude this video, I'm gonna say that it worked based on the fact that there's no oil dripping off of it. You can see all oil in here, but in all fairness to the product, that oil was already all over that shit. So not to mention that of course the oil is going to leak out, a stop leak, until it does its thing. So sorry, I've got the camera shaking all here. I've got it resting on my knee. So as of right now, I'm going to say it works. I'm going to add more to it, and then basically, yeah, if you want to know, because I don't know that I'm going to make another video about it or not. So say if you're watching this, you know, a year down the road or several months or whatever it is, feel free to hit me up in the comments, and I will let you know at that point where we stand. Anyway, let's throw a little oil in and see how much it takes to fill it. All right, let's hope for the best. Let's hope there's a lot of oil in it. Basically, we'll know if it seems empty or not. Well, though, I say that, but in all fairness, it does say online, just from like the forums I'm reading on this car, that you're supposed to top off the oil or whatever, and then in a couple of days add more. So potentially some of it would have went to the lower chambers, I believe. But yeah, let's just see what happens. Come on, drink up. It's going to be tricky. I know you guys probably aren't getting the greatest of view here, but some of it's going to spill out no matter what. Here, let me try to get you guys a better view if I can. Yeah, hold on. Sorry guys, the joys of single filming or whatever, like being able to move shit around on your own. No cameraman or anything available, so, or girl, because we don't discriminate, or he, she, or anyone can film for me, really. Okay. Good enough, I don't know. So I'm gonna keep pouring some in. And all we're doing is we're filling it until it won't take it anymore. Yeah. Fill it until it can't take it anymore. That's the rule. So what we're looking for is when it starts chug-a-lugging out that hole all on its own. So stick the tip in and just pump it right like that. Yeah. I think that might be it. I don't know if I'm actually getting any more to stay in there now. Let's try again. I don't want to waste the stuff if, oh no, it's pouring out. I'm watching it pour out. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the cap back in, or not really a cap, I don't know what you call it. The screw-ma-diggle right there, which is tricky just because the, yeah, come on, bastard. Yeah, there we go. So that's pretty much all I can do, guys, is do this, tighten that up, and then I'm going to clean the affected area. And I don't want to drag this video on forever because I feel that it's already been long enough. So yeah, just if you need an update, just put it in the comments or ask in the comments and I will update. But based on that, I'm not seeing any sign of oil dripping out of right here. That leads me to believe that at least as a short term, obviously I can't say long term, but as a short term solution, this may have worked. And being that I believe all my shocks leak to some extent, if that's the case, I'm probably gonna, well, I don't know. It's a tough call because I want to empty them out and fill them all with this if that's what's going on. Let's back the view out a bit so you guys can see a little better. I don't know, because part of me would say just do it and drain out all the oils out of all of them and fill it full of this crap, and then, you know, hope for the best. But then part of me says, well, that's maybe a good idea, but what if it's not? Because what about 6 months down the road, right? So what I want to do right now is, this is all caked in oil, which is fine. Obviously this thing's been leaking. I want to dry up basically every sign of oil I can that's wet oil. See, I could scrape all this off, but I guess I don't really need to. The main thing is that if it's going to leak, it leaks out of that seal right here where it originally was. So I guess it'll be very apparent. Let me get this off here. Yeah, like that seal is dry in there. So if I check back in after, you know, a few dozen miles or whatever, and we'll see what happens. And I'm not sure if it's really good to be scraping this crap off or not. I saw some, I think it was a video I guess I was watching, and the guy, one of these midget guys or MG guys or whatever, said to never scrape that stuff off because it's creating a barrier, so that part will never rot out. So anything that's caked in oil, like, 'cause originally I started scraping all the oil off all my parts, and most of them, and I actually can kind of understand what he had said. So anyway, that's gonna wrap it up, guys. I don't need to make this go on and on and on. If you've watched this far and you've enjoyed the video and at least like the concept of this jack lube or jack oil, then go ahead and give me a like. And the best part is my jack leaks all over the place, so worst of all, I guess I can just throw it in there if this doesn't work on here. But really, I think it should, but I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.